Thanks, Nate. Well, Sydney-based independent MPs Sophie Scamps and Kylea Tink have been on the ground meeting local farmers and traditional owners fighting gas projects in northwestern New South Wales.
The Santos coal seam project and the accompanying Hunter gas pipeline are projects the local community has been campaigning strongly against for many years, as worries mount over the impact of the gas projects on food production and underground water in that big farming area. Joining me now is the independent member for Mackellar, Dr. Sophie Scamps. Dr. Scamps, good morning to you.
Good morning, thank you.
Now, Liverpool Plains are a long, long way from your Sydney seat of Mackellar. Why are you concerned about this project?
So, strong action on climate change has been the #1 issue for the people of Mackellar, both before the election, during the election and since the election. We just conducted a survey, and strong action on climate change is still the thing that is most top of mind for the people of Mackellar. And we've been told repeatedly by the International Energy Agency and the IPCC that there needs to be no new oil or gas if we are to meet our Paris Agreement obligations and try and keep that global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees. So it's a huge issue for the people of Mackellar. We're facing our own backyard problem with PEP 11 rising its head again, but we also know it's not just NIMBYism. We know that coal and gas and oil can't go ahead anywhere in the country, and that's what is proposed on the Liverpool Plains, the pipeline and in the Pilliga.
Okay, what impact, based on the locals you've spoken to, what are they most concerned about if these projects were to go ahead?
Well, they're concerned as well about the impact on climate change, because methane is one of the most potent greenhouse gases, 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. They're also very concerned, and we had people in tears, very concerned about the impact on food production, on their farmland. The Liverpool Plains has been described as God's gift to Australia. It is one of the most fertile pieces of land in the world, matched only with the Ukraine. It's this alluvial soil that is up to 10 metres deep in some places. So it is Australia's food bowl and also rest of the world's food bowl as well. So farmers are very concerned about how this is going to impact their farming, because it's very precise farming that they do, and any change to the levels of the land will make a huge impact. The subsidence that can happen with coal seam gas mining would be a big problem for them. And then the other major issue is how it will impact the water supply and the aquifers below the land. Because with coal seam gas, you need to take out the water first. It needs to be expelled and evaporated, and that will impact the aquifers below the land. And we know that these aquifers in the Liverpool Plains actually feed the Murray-Darling Basin. So there's huge impacts, potential impacts way down the line. So food security, water security, climate change, and also just destruction of the environment.
Yeah, excuse the interruption. At the same time, over the weekend, the Energy Minister, Chris Bowen, was saying that, yes, the government has a very bold ambition to get to 82% renewable for Australia's energy supplies by 2030. But by definition, that means that there'll be still 18% required from fossil fuels. So in trying to block projects like this, Sophie Scamps, aren't the protesters trying to potentially harming Australia's energy independence as we push toward that target?
Absolutely not. We don't have a shortage of gas on the east coast of Australia. It's just that most of it is exported overseas, 70 to 80%. We have a lot of gas here. As we see on the Western Australia, they have a reserve process. We don't have that here on the eastern side. So there's not a shortage. And we know that these multinational gas companies are making exorbitant profits. Santos has made triple their previous profit. And so there is no shortage of gas. We just need to be using it in the domestic market.
Okay, listen, while I've got you, the other big political issue at the moment is the conversation. The Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, has started about superannuation. In your electorate in Mackellar, it's fair to say, Dr. Scamps, you've got more than a few wealthy constituents. What do you think of the principle of winding back tax concessions for wealthy Australians who have big super accounts?
Well, in Mackellar, we have a diverse range of socioeconomic groups, but I think that the government does have a huge deficit, a huge debt that they need to start looking at. So I think it is common sense to start looking at ways to draw down that debt. But I think we have to be very careful when it comes to superannuation. People have made long-term decisions based on what the rules have been, so we need to be very cautious about that.
what do you think of the principle of cutting off tax concessions completely for people with super accounts above $3 million? Is that fair enough?
Well, the people that are affected by that would be about 1% of the nation. Most people have 150,000 on average in their superannuation account. So the government hasn't made a solid proposal, but you know they're looking at all options, and I'll look at that when they put something on the table.
Okay, but potentially, is it a bit rich? Excuse the pun, for people with super accounts of $3 million plus to get taxpayer-funded tax concessions?
Look, I think if people are using it as a tax break or a way to avoid paying tax, and that's something that needs to be looked at. But as I said, the rules have been in train for a long while, and people have made long-term decisions about their super, about their investments based on what the rules have been. So to change it suddenly, you know, it needs to be done very cautiously, and I think we need to be careful about that.
Okay, so you're open to at least talking, having negotiations on this with the government?
I'm open. We have a massive national debt. We need to look at ways that we can reduce that debt.
Okay, Sophie Scoms, really